Well, this is long overdue. What's up? It's your girl, Julie. Today I am finally here to review the premiere of The Librarians, Season 4. I'm really excited about it. I am, so late. By the time you're seeing this, we'll be ready for the next 2 episodes. But the thing is, okay, so, night of the premiere, I couldn't even film my review because I had to write a paper for a final that I had at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. That was so much fun. I have clips of that. Then I got home that night after my finals and, my stomach hurt. And, if I had tried to get excited enough to, vlog for you, I probably would have, vomited all over the place. So, that wasn't good. Yeah, that was Thursday. So then Friday and Saturday, I wasn't feeling it. I was exhausted. I had a sore throat. And then all day today, Sunday, I still had a sore throat. But you know what? I still have a sore throat right now. But I decided enough is enough because I have a final again tomorrow. And then I have to clean up my room because I need to have a Christmas party on Wednesday. And you know what? I'm just filming. I'm just filming with wet hair and no makeup, and that's what you're gonna deal with, and I think you're gonna be okay with it if you just wanna see me review the premiere. I'm talking to Sabrina of Little Lady Big Dreamer on Tumblr right now, and so while I'm doing that, typing something to her, you guys gonna go ahead and, watch some clips, because I have a clip of the morning I woke up on premiere day, I have a clip of right after I saw the episodes, and I have some clips from throughout the day. And let me just say that during this day, on Thursday after the premiere, things definitely got interesting. Let's just put it that way. Interesting. What's up, party peoples? It's premiere day! I'm feeling chipper this morning. I danced out of bed. I had the house to myself this morning, and I danced around the kitchen. I screamed a lot. I sang a lot. It was coolio. It's premiere day. Season 4 is upon us. We are here with a 2-episode premiere. I'm coming hard at you with the vlogs today rather than just a simple episode review because I have an 8 a.m. final tomorrow, and I think it's going to be really interesting to document what these coming days look like for me. I really love Season 2, and I would love to continue reveling in honeymoon stage Evelyn and flirty Cassandra, but I mean, papers are due, but, who pays attention to that stuff anyway? Me? Responsible? What if I just, make GIFs for an Odyssey article about finals week as described by the Librarians? Because I did start preparing for that. I just haven't made the GIFs. And, so, I could do that. I'm gonna come home after that 8 a.m. final and relax before the 2 p.m. final, and then I'm gonna come home and then I'm gonna sleep. Or freak out about the Librarians more. But we'll just see what happens. Bye. Alright, Litz, I'm not gonna film a whole episode review right now, because, first of all, I just don't have the time right now. I was so excited during that episode that I had been starving, right, and I started eating dinner when I started watching that episode, and then all of a sudden I wasn't hungry, and I ate, 1/4 of my dinner, and now it ends, all the excitement floods away, and I'm starving again. But now I have to heat this dinner up, and I have, a bunch of papers to write, and I would like to take a shower, but, I'm just gonna do a full episode review tomorrow, or just a series of vlogs throughout the day as I try to survive the 2 final day with, no sleep, because we all know I'm not sleeping now. But, I'm dead, so, I just wanted to get my initial visceral reaction on camera, because holy crap, this is gonna be the best season ever. I know they said that, and I'm not sure I believed them, but now I'm watching it, and whoa. Dudes, it's, so different from the rest of the seasons, but it's, so great, and it feels a lot, it has this different kind of energy to it, but at the same time, it's, so much closer to what Season 1 and Season 2 were, and I get what Dean was saying now with them, going back to normal after Season 3, because oh my god, Cassandra is, more excited again, Jake is a little bit less, rugged and, less mad at things, and, everybody's kind of, back to themselves. Even Flynn are being so cute. There was a lot of Cassandra. There's magic. There's magic, and there's not just, secret government agencies in action. We got a bunch of mythology in there, which is what I wanted for Season 3, the Greek mythology, the amount right now. Oh, I'm living, my favorite show is back, my favorite show is definitely back, and, like I just said, this is just my initial reaction, and you know what, I might, like, talk about it after I go and rewatch it, because I was so excited during that whole thing, so busy live tweeting, so hyper-focused on it that I barely got anything, they're doing solving the puzzle, and I don't even know what they did, because I was so hyper-fixated that I actually, like, didn't actually focus. That's where we're at. But it was so great, and it was so Librarians, and God, Flynn is being so Flynn, and he's so in love with Eve, and we got a pet name. But you know what? We're just gonna, stop talking about specifics, because we're gonna get specifics later, when I see you tomorrow. But until that point, this has been great, all the live tweeting on Twitter with everyone was great. I missed you guys so much. I got a couple of likes on my tweets from Jerry O'Connell today, which made me so happy. I love Jerry. So yeah, I'm gonna go heat up the rest of my dinner, try to eat, and, like, work on papers and printing stuff. What is up, Lit's first installment of the Interesting Day vlog. It's 6:40. I couldn't sleep last night. I've been sleeping for about 2 hours. I'm actually dead, but you know what? I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through because all I can do right now is rant about that premiere. And I can't wait to rewatch it. Right now what got me out of bed was thinking about that Cassandra, because holy crap. But like, okay. My throat's dry. I have a Flynn-inspired outfit. Flynnona, really. But we're doing the Flynnona-inspired outfit today, right now. For an 8 a.m. final, because I promised on Twitter that I would do this. So yeah. Let's do it, folks. And it's snowing. You know, it's actually kind of pretty. The amount of think happy thoughts that is going through my brain right now, you guys don't understand. Think happy thoughts. Think about the Evelyn kiss. Don't think about that it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Think happy thoughts. Think about Cassandra. Don't think about that it's snowing. Hey, what's up, my lits? I was running around a bunch today with the finals and everything, and in between the finals I was working on finals, and so I never really got the opportunity to vlog for you and talk about my hellish day. But I very mildly wanted to die the whole time. I had a lot of headaches. And now I'm nauseous. And that's important to say because my vlog is going to be a couple of days late with the review because I'm feeling kind of sick. Feeling kind of really sick. And I really just don't have the stamina right now. I don't know if I would anyway because I slept so little last night, but I really just don't have it in me right now to, like, give you a proper vlog. I'm full of excitement and squealing, and when I do this vlog review, I want to be squealing all over the place about how wonderful the episode was. And I can't do that right now because my stomach is really not feeling well. So, yeah, I wanted to take you around with more of my day. I just forgot. But I'm gonna go rewatch the episodes now because I'm finally done for the day. I'm excited. Alright, so I have notes in my little Librarians notebook because I had to watch the episodes twice, each of them twice, before I even felt ready to review this because, like, so much was happening. And you know what? I was so excited and so hyper fixated and focused in on these episodes that, like, I realized that everybody's talking about it afterwards, and I had, like, no idea of 80% of the stuff that had happened. And honestly, I feel like I'm still kind of lost. Like, everybody's talking about a map, and I'm like, what? I know I have a lot of notes about the first episode. By the time I was rewatching the second, I was too tired, but I just watched the second one this afternoon, so I feel like I'm okay to talk about that because I've seen it 3 times now. So I think I could talk about that, but the first episode, just so much happened, and, like, the first episode was great, I loved it so much, but there was just, like, a giant info dump, and we would get, like, I would have, like, 2 pages of notes in a 30-second conversation. That was especially when we were first learning about the cornerstones, and when Nicole was talking about what happened to her, and Jenkins was talking about, like, why Nicole was locked up. I still honestly don't remember all those details, so I have it written down, because I knew during those big, lengthy conversations that I wrote all the details down. Let's just get started, let's just start chit-chatting, we're gonna see how it goes. Yeah. I, again, ignore the no makeup and the wet hair. I think it's I think it's a boho look. Not boho. I don't know what I'm saying. I have a final tomorrow. Okay, guys, Sabrina says hi to the vlog. Alright, so basically that we have the focus of this first episode, and maybe the season. I still really don't know what the big focus of the season is, other than, like, them deciding whether or not they want to be a part of the library, and honestly reading the episode summaries. I feel like that's what it's gonna be. I feel like rather than having, like, a big main villain this season, where it's just kind of going to be about the characters, which I think is actually really cool, so rather than having a villain that they're fighting against, we're kind of just talking about them. You know, what do they want? Do they still want to be librarians? Do they still trust the library? Do they want to have lives outside of the library? How are they dealing with the fact that they can't have lives outside of the library? That was a scene in the second episode, which we'll get to, but I think that's going to play big into the season. The Heretic Order of Shadows, which is, like, an excommunicated sect of the Roman Catholic Church that is trying to bring back the Dark Ages. And I'm just laughing because it's just so ridiculous to say it, and I love it. And honestly, we knew this was coming because when, back in May, when they released that Nicole was going to be in season 4, they talked about, John Noble playing Monsignor Vega, who was, wanted to bring back the Dark Ages. They want to find the cornerstones of the library, we know that, and you know what, later on, we find out what the cornerstones are, because I have to read my notes for that, because I'm really still not sure. But anyway, as we were saying, so we have the Heretic Order of Shadows, we have Nicole, we have, do we still want to be librarians, and all of that is going to kind of play into it, and we're going to talk about all of that as we go on. But right now, the episode starts, and we see the Heretic Order of Shadows just, you know, going to the Vatican and stealing a cornerstone. Oh my god, I was, like, dying, because, like, I remember we knew this wedding was coming because we saw the white dress on Lindy's Instagram from the dressing room, we saw Rebecca's Instagram had the flower arch on the library, and I remember everybody freaking when we realized this wedding was happening, right? And so then, at Comic-Con, they released the trailer of season 4 that just starts with Here Comes the Bride and Eve coming out of the elevator, and, like, so I always thought that was gonna be the end of the season, and we also knew that we were all right in assuming that Eve and Flynn were going to be Charlene and Judson, which they kind of just, like, glossed over. I was surprised at that. I was expecting a scene where they found out, so I'm surprised that we didn't get to see the moment where they found out that that was going to happen. I hope we get a little bit more explanation as to how they found that out. Is that what Charlene whispered to Eve? The greatest question of the entire show? I don't know. As we figured out that this wedding was going to be in the first episode, I'm figuring it's going to be at the beginning, and then they're going to find out that they have to be tethered, and it's going to ruin everything. Or then Nicole's going to show up, and it's going to ruin everything. But I thought that this was going to be like a genuine wedding, that they were just springing on us, and that it had nothing to do with tethering, that it had to do with Eve and Flynn actually getting married, and then finding out they got to do something else instead. But so, and they played us so hard with this. We got played, okay? Because it starts with, like, you know, Jake and Ezekiel are decorating everything, and Jenkins is yelling at them about how it has to be decorated, and Cassandra is helping Eve with her hair, and all I can think is that this is the exact same thing I've written every time I've written a wedding fan fiction. Cassandra was so excited, and it was so cute. Eve's kind of just, like, bonded together. landed together. And I'm crying right now, right? Crying. They're joking about like, oh, he's not even here yet. I bet he's not even here yet. And Cassandra's like, he'll be here. So again, they're playing us that this is an actual wedding. And then Cal... I wasn't expecting Cal. Oh my god, but Cal flies up and is like poking Flynn to wake him up to go to the ceremony. And I'm like, Cal? I just feel like at this point, like 5 minutes in, I understand that season 4, Dean Devlin talked about at Comic-Con where season 3 was kind of like off trying to get new viewers in. And I think we all kind of knew that, as great as season 3 was. It was a little off from the rest of the show. Season 4 feels more like season 2, and season 4, where they started right now, feels like a very natural place where they could have picked up from the end of season 2. Because Cal's there, Cal is there, Cal is being Cal, and we have Cal back, and it's Cal, and it's Cal, and it's Excalibur, Flynn's best friend, best man, evidently, Cal. Right? Okay. So Flynn runs to the wedding, and Cassandra's like, she's ready! And again, we still think this is an actual wedding. And Eve comes down, and Jake walks her to Flynn. And Flynn is like, you look beautiful. And she's like, I know. And Jenkins addresses the artifacts with the ceremony, which I love. Librarians, artifacts, we are gathered here today. Which I just thought was the funniest thing, and yet so appropriate for the library, and I loved that. And then he's like, can I see the ring? And Flynn forgets the ring, or we think Flynn forgets the ring, and then all hell starts to break loose as Flynn and Eve are joking about he does have the ring until he drops it, and Eve bends down, and in the process of standing up, hits Flynn, gives him a bloody nose with her tiara, and Cassandra starts screaming about Eve's hair. So now Jenkins is angry that they're not taking the rehearsal seriously, and this is when we learn that this is a tethering ceremony, to be bound to the library, to take the place of Charlene and Judson, and that Eve and Flynn are going to be doing this, and that it can only be done on a vernal equinox. Somehow I think that's going to play big into the season, because we know that Noah is in 7 episodes this season, and I believe he's in the first 6 straight through, so clearly something's going to happen to Flynn to separate him. Considering even Flynn's current status as a couple, considering, like, where they've been for development in the first 3 seasons, considering the fact that Nicole is now a thing, I have a feeling this is going to be a separation rather than a fight. I'm thinking that as we're getting down to the finale, it's going to be the vernal equinox, and somebody's going to have to tether with Eve, and Eve is going to be upset, because, like, hello, Flynn. And then Flynn will probably come back last second. I don't know, just a theory, but let's actually talk about the episode, because I've been talking for 15 minutes, and I'm only up to the wedding. So the next thing we learn is this alarm goes off, and we find out that there was a cornerstone of the library has been stolen. Basically what we learned is that the library started at Alexandria, which everybody had assumed anyway. The library started at Alexandria, and when Alexandria burned, the library was tethered to an alternate reality by the current librarian. And he used these 4 cornerstones to keep the library attached to an alternate reality and keep it away from being tethered to a solid reality. Because, like, if it was attached to our reality outside of the single room in the annex, as we've learned before, the library is so big that it exists in its own pocket dimension. So it wasn't really the whole library lying under the Metropolitan Public Library in New York City. It was just a piece of it that served as the real world connection to the actual library. And then we have the annex, which is in Portland, which is now the real world connection to the actual library. But the actual library is too big to actually exist in this reality. And the cornerstones keep it from being attached to our actual reality because, as Flynn describes, the library, like, is the cloud, and everything in the library is the cloud storage, and there's so much there that, if it became reality, like, it would, like, implode. Because there was so much, and there's too much to be attached to the actual world. So then, Jenkins, they said we need to know where the cornerstones are, and Jenkins is reluctant to admit how they're gonna figure out where the cornerstones are. So he opens up the Lion, and it turns out there's a dungeon in the Lion. So we're going into the Lion, and Nicole Noone, which we knew was coming, Nicole Noone is in this dungeon. And then it gets juicy. When Nicole was out with Flynn working on H.G. Wells' time machine, Flynn went and tried to rewire the time machine so that anybody who went near it would be frozen in time. And Nicole was fighting the ninjas that were by the time machine, and Flynn yelled at her to run away from the time machine because he didn't want her to get frozen in time. But it turned out the time machine actually exploded, making Flynn think that Nicole was dead, but in reality she wasn't dead. She was 500 years back in time, but nobody told Flynn that this happened. Jenkins knew about this, but Jenkins didn't tell Flynn and allow Flynn to go back and get her because it was written in prophecy that it had to happen this way. And so Nicole tried to take revenge on the library. That's what Jenkins is claiming, that Nicole was trying to hurt the library and hurt Flynn because the library and Flynn hurt her, while Nicole is saying that she loves Flynn and she doesn't trust the library and she thinks the library is not a good thing, so she's trying to destroy the library to protect Flynn. And then so she stole all these artifacts, made herself immortal to wait for Flynn, to see Flynn again in 500 years because she still loves Flynn. And she made herself immortal, and she stole the cornerstones, and once she stole the cornerstones, about 100 years ago, Jenkins took her, locked her up in a dungeon underneath the library. 100 years passed, now we are where we are now. And she sees Flynn again, but guess what? He's getting married to someone else. Okay, I think I got it. I was, like, actually really happy with how this Nicole thing was treated, because I don't know if I've talked about it on here before, probably in the video where I said that Nicole was coming, but I don't like Nicole. I watched the first movie, I never liked Nicole. It's not that I think she's a bad person, or, I mean, I do now, but in the movie, I didn't think she was a bad person, because, like, she's just her. But I don't think she was a good match for Flynn, and I didn't like the way she treated Flynn. I didn't consider it a healthy relationship. I don't like the way she treats him. I was really kind of worried that when she came onto the show, she was going to try to turn into this giant sympathetic character, that she was just going to show up and be like, Flynn! But what's really interesting is she's evil now. She's, like, evil, which I don't think she was evil when she started in the movie. I don't consider that, but it's interesting to me that she's become evil in the when they brought her back to the show, and I think that's going to be really, really interesting for Flynn. I think it's already really interesting for Flynn, and I really like where they're going with this. So going off of that, I'm going to go out of order a little bit, because the Lits go off to Niagara Falls to try and find out about the stolen cornerstone, and Flynn and Eve stay behind to try to get Nicole to talk. Flynn says to Nicole, you were a guardian once, it's not too soon to start acting like one. And I'm like, go off, Flynn! That line gave me so much life. So then Nicole admits that she still loves Flynn. Eve's upset by that, like, duh. So, and Nicole says she'll tell them where the cornerstones are, but she'll only tell Flynn. So we get this conversation with Flynn and Nicole, which is what I want to talk about. This scene was done so brilliantly. The acting from Noah Wyle and Rachel Nichols was, like, top tier. Now, as all of you know, I love Flynn very, very much. Flynn's very, very important to me. And he became important to me. I realized how important he was to me when I saw the chessboard scene last year. When Flynn lets out the line, I'm afraid of getting close to people because I'm terrified of being hurt. Let's talk about that. I always tied Nicole into that line because I didn't know Nicole was dead. I always assumed that she left because that's the impression that we got in the movie. But Flynn, as we learned in that chessboard scene, and then when we go back and watch the rest of the show, we can see it. Flynn has trust issues. Flynn... I'm sorry, this is, like, really big thing for me. Flynn... Basically, every single person that Flynn has ever loved... Every single freaking person that Flynn has ever loved has hurt him in some way. He's been hurt by them, whether intentionally or not, but his father died when he was a little boy. He had his mother, and the only people he had were his mom and his Uncle Jerry. Because he was an outcast, everybody thought he was weird, and he just, like, lost himself in his books, and he just had his mom and his Uncle Jerry, who was like a dad to him. And then he gets to the library, and he gets Charlene and Judson and Cal, and everything seems to be going well, and then he finds out that his Uncle Jerry was the one who killed his dad in the first place, and Nicole dies, and that's the important one now, and then his mom dies, and then Judson dies, and it's just like... Oh, and Emily, he starts a relationship with Emily, and Emily doesn't want to keep going forward. And then Katie, and he thinks Katie is the one, son, and Katie leaves him. And then Simone dies, and I think Simone is the straw that breaks the camel's back for Flynn, that once he loses Simone, that breaks him into deciding that he's never going to try for any other connections. So Flynn has trust issues, right? That's played into the rest of the show, where in season 3, when Eve started to get a little bit mad at him because he was wily and running all over the place, and now he's found this new family with the library when they were mad at him, and especially Eve, to him, in his brain, that automatically set off alarm bells. This means she doesn't love me anymore. Which is just such a heartbreaking thing to see, that, like, that Flynn would assume that. And that's where his brain takes him. So that's the one important thing about Flynn when we're talking about this scene with Nicole. The other important thing with Flynn, I think, is that Flynn, because of these trust issues, I think, and because Flynn is such a freaking good person, right? He's such a caring, deep, emotional, empathetic person that he has this huge guilt complex. Where he is always going to put himself at blame for the things that happen to the people he loves. You see this in Fangs of Death, when all the werewolves are taking over and they set off the self-destruct, and Flynn basically has a breakdown. And this is the thing that breaks Flynn, and Jake is noticing, like, you're never like this, you always know another answer. You're always able to keep going no matter what happens, and Jake's trying to encourage him to do that again, but basically what Flynn is saying is that it's my fault. And Flynn can't get over the fact that it's his fault, and that's what causes him to leave in season 3, because Ezekiel almost dies, every one of them almost dies, and Flynn thinks it's totally his fault. And he can't handle that. So now we have this scene with Nicole. Now he's found out that one of the first people to leave him, to die, actually did not die. And he had the opportunity to not be alone. He had the opportunity to stay with her, and now not only is it his fault that he lost Nicole, it's his fault that Nicole was alone for 500 years. And Nicole is making clear how hurt she is by being alone for 500 years, and Flynn is obviously going to feel guilty about this because he's yelling at Jenkins that he wouldn't let Jenkins go back for her, that Jenkins wouldn't let him go back for her. Okay, so when I last left you, we were talking about that scene with Flynn and Nicole. I had to go eat dinner. Sorry about that. I'm a little quieter now because it's late, and also because my throat hurts more. But we know all of this about Flynn, right? He has this guilt complex. He has these trust issues. We've been through that. So now, obviously, he's already feeling guilty, like, broken up guilty about what happened with Nicole. When he gets alone with Nicole, she's kind of just like, and this ties in more to my I don't like Nicole, and I'm really interested and kind of happy with what they did with her this season. She just kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. Like, how did you know it was going to explode? How did you know it was going to explode? And, like, he's so visibly upset, and she never even suggests to him that it's not his fault. Which really it wasn't. I mean, it was his fault technically in that he made the mistake, but he wasn't trying to hurt her. And while it was his fault, he shouldn't feel guilty about it, because it wasn't purposefully his fault. So he shouldn't have to feel as guilty about it as he does naturally, just because he's him. And she is not acknowledging that. She's actually just sitting there listening to it, let him talk about how he failed her. And just smiling. She just smiles, and she looks so satisfied with herself, and it made me so angry, because she claims to still love him, right? But that's not how you treat someone that you love. And so, like, oh, Nicole. And it hurts so much to watch that with Flynn, to see him, like, broken up like that, but it also made me, like, really proud of Flynn as someone who loves Flynn so much. Because, again, it just kind of just showed what a good person he is, that he would feel that he would feel like he failed her, and that, you know, he should feel broken up with and eaten up with guilt, even though he really should not, but that's how he feels. It makes me mad at Nicole that she's not telling him that he shouldn't feel that guilty, because really he shouldn't. And I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like were it Eve, we would have a much different situation, because Eve is a much better match for Flynn than Nicole. But that was kind of my impressions of that conversation with Flynn and Nicole. That was, like, the biggest takeaway from the episode for me. The other interesting thing I found about this, is Eve and Nicole. The Eve and Nicole dynamic, how that's working out. So we kind of had two options going into this when we found out that Nicole was going to be in season 4, how we thought she might react. Ways we joked about it. Either, you know, there might be the Eve who's like really jealous of Nicole and not happy that she's there, not happy with the way she treats Flynn, which is kind of the Eve I imagine, that like even Nicole were not going to get along, because even though Eve is not necessarily the jealous type, I never thought Eve would be the jealous type. I don't think she would be happy with Flynn's ex-girlfriend being there. Like, she might feel a little threatened just naturally, and also Eve and Nicole are very different people. And then there was the theory that, you know, they'll be laughing, joking about being guardians, joking about Flynn and all his quirks. But then it hit me, you know, like, if Eve loves Flynn's quirks. This is not the kind of show where quirks get made fun of, which is why I love the show so much and why I say it's so different from other TV shows and why I don't like Nicole, because Nicole did make fun of Flynn, even though she loved him. She did kind of like treat his personality quirks that make him weird and different. She did treat them as differences, and Eve kind of just like accepts them and just like doesn't really point them out as being different and just like loves him for all of them. And, like, loves them, like how she smiles and shakes her head and cries, rather than remarking that, like, oh my god, I'm Henge and Key, why can't he just get out a compliment? She smiles and cries and says, I'm Henge and Key, because she knows that for him, that means something. So we have this Eve-Nicole dynamic, and I really, really like the way that Eve and Nicole are interacting, how this is happening. I really do like that Eve is not, like, jealous of her in the way that, you know, Eve doesn't just, like, automatically treat her badly because she feels threatened by her. It's not like a Flynn and Moriarty level of jealousy situation, not that kind of fighting. And Eve is actually at times really, really kind to her, because Eve, being the Hufflepuff lovely soul that she is, Eve wants to help Nicole. Eve wants Nicole to come back to the library. Eve wants Nicole to stop fighting the library, A, because Eve wants to protect the library, and B, because Eve wants the best for everybody, and that includes Nicole. So even though Nicole's being evil, and even though, you know, Nicole is Flynn's ex-girlfriend and ex-guardian, and now Eve is guardian and girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, Eve still wants the best for Nicole. But, on the other hand, while Eve is treating Nicole well, as soon as Nicole even comes close to saying anything bad about Flynn, anything bad about the library or the librarians, or doing anything that will put Flynn or her other librarians in danger, Eve goes full mama bear, and that's when we see her grab Nicole and pull her against the jail cell bars, which I loved, by the way. But it's this really interesting dynamic where I kind of thought that it was going to be, where Eve is not going to be happy with the way Nicole is treating Flynn. And the way Nicole is speaking about her librarians. And so that is going to be where Eve starts to be angry and maybe fight with Nicole, when Nicole is being what she's being and saying the things she's saying. And I think that really, really fits Eve's character, and I think they're doing a brilliant, brilliant job with this. And I also really liked how in that scene after Flynn comes out of the cell with Nicole and they're sitting with the Lits trying to figure out where the next cornerstone is, Eve looks very, very angry because Flynn is obviously devastated. Flynn is clearly devastated. He's barely participating in the conversation. And Eve looks at him and says, what happened down there? And you can see, like, I don't even think that's guardian protective Eve at that point. That is, Eve is in love with Flynn and Nicole just hurt him. The other thing I want to say about Eve and Nicole and Flynn is that, wow, the total lack of a love triangle right now is, like, amazing. Amazing. I love it. Like, I love it. 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 Because, oh my god. Oh my god. You know, when I never thought that Nicole was going to be a threat to Eve and Flynn, because Flynn says in season 3, episode 6, he says, I love you more than anyone I've ever known, which means he loves her more than Nicole, even if Nicole were to come back. So I always knew that wasn't really going to be an issue, right? However, while I didn't think Eve was going to be jealous or seriously scared, there was probably going to be a connection between Flynn and Nicole still, and I thought Eve might be a little upset by that. So I always said, like, the best thing that's going to come out of Nicole being back on the show is that we're probably going to get a really, really beautiful Eve and Flynn moment where he assures her that she's the one that he loves. And so at the end of the episode, when we have Eve and Flynn alone, and Eve says to him, "Are we okay?" That's what I thought was coming, but what actually came was so much better. And it was so simple. It was so simple, just like a simple way of showing how like great and normal and natural and healthy this relationship between Eve and Flynn is. It's like the healthiest written relationship I've ever seen on TV. There's no sensationalism, there's no unnecessary fighting. It's just like they're just like an actual healthy relationship, and I don't understand. It's so great. But anyway, so Eve says to him, "Are we okay?" And Flynn immediately says without hesitation, "I don't have any feelings for Nicole." Which is also another testament to Flynn, to see how great he's treating Nicole and how dedicated he is to saving Nicole and protecting Nicole and having the best for Nicole, even though he doesn't have any feelings for her whatsoever anymore. That's Flynn, and that's my Flynn, and I love Flynn. It just makes me love Flynn even more. But then Eve says to him that she's not even talking about that. And so not only do we have Flynn not even having any feelings for Nicole, but Eve wasn't even considering it. Eve never doubted for a second that they were fine and that they were them. And like, there's no love triangle. There's no even thought of a love triangle. And I love it. I'm living. Okay, so, like, to briefly go through the rest of the episode, some great moments. We had, like, the Litz in the Paris Opera House, and of course, I love that Jake and Cassandra are back to being, like, best friends. I don't know how much I ship them anymore, but, like, at the same time, they were fighting last season, and that kind of felt unnatural for them, and now they're just, like, they're singing at the Opera House, just randomly singing while Ezekiel watches them with these judging eyes, and, like, I loved it so much, and she was smiling at him when he figured out the opera glasses, and, like, they had to hit a high C to break the glass to get the stone, and I was like, is this my ticket into the library? Because I can hit a high C, I can hit above a high C, I'm not gonna do it now, but I can do it. And, like, I'm like, this is my ticket to finally be a librarian, you guys. And then there's this whole complicated battle with the cornerstones. Now, before that happens, Eve and Flynn and Nicole go off to find the cornerstone, because Nicole says she won't tell them where it is unless she takes them. They go against the wishes of Jenkins, because Eve trusts her. Nicole was trying to worm her way in, and she's talking about her adventures with Flynn, and their time, like, in Mongolia in the bedroom, and, like, the whole time, I love, she mentions the waltz, and even Flynn just take that opportunity to, Eve's just like, yeah, well, it's a good thing it's not a tango, or you'd be dead, and they make these flirty eyes with each other, so, like, every time Nicole tries to, like, shove herself in, it's just like, nope, nope, sorry, this is Eve and Flynn, and I'm, like, so living for it. It's great, because as much as I respect Nicole and I feel bad for her, I still don't like her, so it's still great to see even Flynn just like shoving off all these flirtatious remarks from Nicole. And Flynn also getting nervous when Nicole mentioned the bedroom. It was great. Then we have the lightning field. Nicole refuses to go across and get the stone, even though she's immortal and she's the one who can go without threat of getting hurt. Which, great job, hun. Yeah. You want to do things for Flynn, right? You love him. Okay, anyway. So, Eve goes because she says it's like her military intelligence training, and Flynn says he's gonna help her. Now, Flynn goes to collect mineral ores so that he can, like, shoot them into the air and deflect the lightning, but he's like, you're gonna need some help, and to collect these rocks, Flynn gets down on one knee, and I kind of flipped for a hot second, because, like, now I'm thinking, like, oh, he's gonna give her a ring, like, to give her the encouragement and the luck to go, and I'm like, I don't know why my brain, I do know why my brain went to that, because I'm trash, but, like, at the same time, like, after you've just showed me an almost wedding, and I know this season is, like, wedded bliss for them, you can't put him on one knee like that. They do that, and then back to, like, Eve and Flynn being over Nicole, Eve finishes, and so Flynn literally just, like, shoves the slingshot into Nicole's hand and runs across the field and hugs Eve, and we finally got an Evelyn hug. I've wanted an Evelyn hug for so long. I wanted an Evelyn hug for so long, and we got one, and I'm so happy. They hear Cassandra screaming, and now they have the 4 cornerstones, because Eve gives Monsignor Vega the 4th cornerstone to save Cassandra and Jake and Ezekiel. And then Nicole turns on the library, and Nicole says she knows how to activate them because Flynn won't tell Monsignor Vega how to activate them. And so now they open up this vortex, and the library starts collapsing. And then Nicole throws one of the cornerstones into the vortex, and she says she's doing this to protect Flynn. So now we don't really know where Nicole stands at this point. She just keeps flipping back and forth and back and forth. But then Monsignor Vega gets sucked into the vortex, and it turns out Nicole gets sucked with him. And so now Flynn is determined to save her, because although he doesn't have any feelings for her anymore, Flynn refuses to lose her again, and, like, to fail her again. And again, Flynn, my baby. Anyway, so Flynn has the rope attached to him, and he jumps into the vortex, but everything's collapsing, and Flynn is gonna die at this point. And so Cassandra's quick thinking, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think they said it's like jump-starting a car, and, like, they need the lightning to activate one of the stones, like, to act like a 4th stone, I think. I don't know, but Jake and Cassandra didn't have their hands off of each other for a second of this scene, and it was great. But that is beside the point. They activate the lightning thing with the stones, and Flynn and Nicole come out, and as soon as he gets out, Eve's, like, screaming, like, Flynn, are you okay? And I'm like, it's like episode 10 all over again, my tears. But then Flynn, again, literally just shoves Nicole behind him and kisses Eve, and it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's episode 1. And I talked so much about episode 1, I don't think I can talk about episode 2, but I'm gonna mention things briefly. Episode 2 and the Steal of Fortune, they go to this casino. The Roman goddess Fortuna is stealing luck. I love this episode. It's really, really clever. We have a lot of Greek and Roman mythology happening this season, which I think is really, really cool. Flynn is taking on the duties of Judson, which is so cute. And we have Flynn call Eve Sweetie. They have a pet name. In one premiere, we got a hug, a kiss, and a pet name. Oh, and an arm link. At the end of the second episode, they walk off linking arms. In the second episode, we also introduced this idea of how they can't live normal lives, which seems to be the theme of the season. And are they okay with the fact that they're not living normal lives? And Cassandra's upset because now that she's not dying, she wants to, like, you know, maybe get married, experience normal people things. But no. They're saying they can't have normal lives, and Flynn is telling them to come to terms with it. They're saying, you have Eve, and he's like, that doesn't count. And Eve's like, I don't count? He's like, that's not what I meant. I mean, it doesn't count because and Flynn gets all nervous Flynn with Eve, Sweetie, it's the cutest thing. And then they go to this casino, because Jake and Ezekiel go to visit Jake's friend, and there's the Roman goddess Fortuna is stealing luck. And the librarians cheat this because Cassandra can't have her luck stolen because she uses math to figure out the roulette wheel. So she's not using luck, and so she starts winning the games despite having her luck stolen, and this starts to hurt Fortuna, and Fortuna starts to turn back into a bronze statue. At the same time, Ezekiel is losing, and Ezekiel is so frustrated with losing that he, like, breaks the machines, cheats, and so then this continues to hurt Fortuna as well. Basically, they find out that Fortuna, when she kisses someone, she can steal their luck, and there's an advert for the casino that she blows a kiss. People see this, they have their luck stolen, and now Fortuna is going to blow a kiss to the whole world and end humanity, because life as we know it is just a chance. A single kiss from Fortuna will wipe out humanity. It was so ridiculous, and I loved it. It was very much like a leverage episode, which I thought was really cool. They basically had to figure out how to cheat the entire casino, except they used magic, Well, for some of it, Cassandra got to use her enhanced gift, which was so cool. But basically they were using, it was like Leverage. It was like Librarians meets Leverage, and I was getting a very Leverage vibe, and I thought that was really cool. What's gonna happen this season? I don't know. I'm really excited to see where this thing with Nicole goes. I know from episode descriptions we're supposed to have an episode where Eve and Nicole are alone, and I think Eve is gonna get very, very protective in that episode, being like, hey, you can't talk about Flynn that way, hey, you can't talk about the library that way, and I'm so excited for it. I'm ready. Next week, we have the Christmas episode and the movie episode with Eve and Flynn going on vacation for Christmas, and then even Flynn going on a date and getting sucked into the movie, and the Librarians journeying through the movies to try and save them. I'm so excited for it. It's gonna be great. This season already seems like God tier, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store and to review the episodes with you right here on my channel. I will see you guys next week to review End the Christmas Thief and The Silver Screen. You can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. All links are in the description below. Let me know in the comments what you think about the episodes, what you have to say about Nicole, Eve, Flynn, that whole situation. I will see you guys next week, hopefully with my Librarians Trash Cult to review episodes 3 and 4. Bye-bye, Lits. Mwah.